Hello everybody, welcome back. I've got my Cybertronic army from the Warzone Resurrection Kickstarter completed, well, almost completed except for the Eradicator Death Droid, and that's just because it's not out yet, and so I was going to run through showing you all of the figures. Here are the armored chasseurs, and I picked up two boxes or two groups of these, and they come in fives, and get a look at some of them in detail. Now the heads I have on 5 of these actually come from different figures that I'll show you in a second, but I thought they were cool, so I put them on here. This is one of them. This is one with one of the regular heads that comes with the chasseurs. And here's a guy with big gun. Also one of the regular heads on him. And so I put 5 of the heads off of, I'm thinking these are the machinators heads. With that kit you get 2 different heads, and so I swapped out 5 of them onto the armored, excuse me, I almost said enhanced, but the armored chasseurs, because I thought they looked kind of cool. So these guys come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. You get the legs as a single piece, upper torso, head, right arm, left arm, and the shoulder pads. I love these shoulder pads, and I hate these shoulder pads. I love them because they look cool. Hate them because the assembly and cleaning on these was just a pain. They have a casting peg that's on the inside, the underside right here, and that has to be cleaned out and smoothed down, and it was just a pain doing it on 20 different shoulder pads. But these guys look really big and bulky. I like them a lot. Here's another one. Very cool troop choice for Cybertronic. Alright, and you probably figured out by now, just like I did, that I was wrong telling you the heads that I swapped out were from the enhanced machinators, or the machinators. They actually came off the cuirassiers or the Attilas. So we'll look at those here. The Attilas come in multiple pieces. Each leg is a separate piece. The upper torso, the head, each arm, and then the gun. And the gun, let me show you 2 of them, have the little stock piece on the back. One on the left still has it, one on the right does not, and that's just because it was a little bit fiddly and spindly, and I broke 2 of them, I think. So here's one without it. Here's another, if we can focus. There we go, without it. But I think they look okay. They definitely have a very cool Terminator vibe to them. And I put the skull type head on all of these, which left me the other head for the armored chasseurs. And so now, over on the right hand side, you can see what the old Attilas looked like. And then over on the left, we still have the current edition. So really cool. I like them on the 40mm bases. They don't look huge compared to the chasseurs, but they definitely have a neat robot vibe to them. Whereas these guys look like guys inside suits of armor, for the most part anyway. These look more like just straight up robots. And then speaking of straight up robots, we have the machinators here, and each one of these comes in multiple pieces. You have both legs are together as a single piece, upper torso, each arm, the gun, and the head. And there's 3 different leg poses. This guy here who's sort of walking forward. This guy here who is running forward or jumping over something, and here's the other gun. And then this guy here who's got his left leg forward in a walking or sort of running pose. The stock on these guns is much thicker than the ones that I broke off of gosh, why can't I remember their name? Off of the cuirassiers, the Attila units. So no breakage here or anything. And these are much larger when compared to standard troopers. And even if I lower them down to the same level on the cork base here, much bigger and bulkier. Very, very cool robot guys here. Then again, over on the right, the old version of the machinators, and then everywhere else, and over on the left, I guess, current version of the machinators. And here's a couple of our Warlord and Lord choices. There won't be a comparison on these because these are brand new to the Warzone Resurrection Edition, but here's the Everasur that comes in the starter set. And here's the Immortal from the starter set. Very nice detail everywhere. These two different guys, the Everasur and the Immortal, go together and clean up real quick. Not really any kind of problems with assembly or anything. Just real good, big, hefty models here. Okay, and here we have Dr. Diana, and I chose to put her on the 40mm base, so I won't be using this model as the squad upgrade that you can use Diana for. Here's her backpack piece. I left it separate for now. I'll paint it and then glue it into place. And then here's the model itself. You get two different heads. I gave her the slightly longer, at least I think it's slightly longer hair, on the one I assembled, which is a good thing that you get two because I needed an extra for something in my capital army that you'll see fairly soon. So no assembly issues with Diana. Head is separate, two arms are separate, but they go into place pretty easily. And there's the peg and void. Here's the peg on the back of here and the void in the back for the backpack attachment to fit on. And let's see if I can get this into place. Maybe looking something like that once we're done. But I'm going to leave it off. It'll just make it easier to paint and get finished. So over on the left, sorry, over on the right, we have the old Dr. Diana. Over on the left, we have the new version, and just a massive improvement on a very iconic Cybertronic figure here. Alright, and here we have two Scorpions. You can run them in units of up to 3, but I only got 2 with the Kickstarter. I may get a third one at some point soon. But here's how big they are compared to the armored chasseur. So really nice big models here. They come in a ton of pieces. Each one of these 4 legs is actually 2 pieces. So there's 8 and 8. This is a separate piece. The tail, the main part of the body is. These 2 pincers are 2 parts each. Then separate shoulder pads on the guy, separate head, separate body, separate arms. So ton of pieces. You do have to mess with it a little bit to get it to pose upright, and I put them on some rocky bases here and adjusted the legs around to get them to fit on the way I wanted to. So you'll spend a little bit of time putting the Scorpions together, but over on the right you'll see the old version of the Scorpion compared to this one. There's just no question. The new one just destroys the old one, and these are awesome figures that are really gonna look nice on the tabletop in a Cybertronic army. And then last up, I've got a sea of regular chasseurs. Out of 2 starter kits, I ended up with 20 of them. And they go together pretty nicely. You've got the legs, the upper torso, the heads, and the 2 arms, and then the gun. And for the most part, they go together, like I said, pretty nicely. I had an issue with some of the alternate guns. Like this guy. It was hard to get his arm, and I just may have screwed up assembling it, to cradle the gun right. It's got a little, in the actual unassembled model, a little clip that feeds in here that was almost always in the way when I was going to try to get the arms to line up right. And I think I got maybe one, no, not even this one. This guy here, and he's got a whole different issue that I had with him. His would have lined up right. But that's only because he's not cradling it. See, this one wouldn't have even... Like I said, it could be more my error than anything else. But I just couldn't get him to go properly. Here's the standard issue gun. It does cradle it nicely. There we go. Nice focus. But overall, I like these. Like I said, my only issue was with the alternate, the blaster gun, that just didn't seem to line up right for me. And here's a guy I had an issue with, and this is my issue, not with the model. I lost an arm, and fortunately, on my capital heavy guys, you get this extra arm here in that set. And I might file down the shoulder pads a little more to make it less capital and more rounded, but I think this was a good bionic replacement for the chasseurs. So over on the right, you can see the very original chasseurs, which turned into the People's Volunteers, and then what then turned into the regular chasseurs. So again, definite improvement in all the Cybertronic models across the entire line from previous editions, and I'm just real happy with all of them. When I get my Ed in, I'll get a video of him being assembled up there, and all I've got to do now is get these guys primed, painted, and played with, and I'll probably move the playing with up in order before I get them primed and painted. But very happy with the Cybertronic army I got from the Kickstarter. Hope you are also happy with your miniatures as you get them.